Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Sunday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, and I help folks create a side income using social media. Welcome. Boy, I got to tell you, this past few days, 3, 4 days, maybe 3 days, have been definitely very, very interesting. One, two is that I've got to know certain folks um, better than I used to. I can't say I know them now, but I can say I know them better than I used to. And it's amazing when God interrupts what happens, right? Like sometimes God says, like, it's enough. Like I'll get in here. I'll do the thing, right? So I'm going to share with you a couple of thoughts, a couple of takeaways from this past few days of my life, and not ready to share the whole entire story with you, but you bet your life, you bet your farm that soon you'll get to know the whole story. But um, so the past 3 4 days, I decided if I should. I was in negotiations, okay, and I didn't really feel like it's really going to go anywhere, and so I decided I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna leave, and that was very quick, right? Very quick decision. Put my stuff on online for sale, and I've got a ton of people. I think it got hit over 2,600 times, and which is funny because nobody's ever. Well, that's not true because a few people have asked for address, but then I things I didn't get to them until later tonight. So let's see what happened. So the past 3 4 days, I decided to okay, I'm gonna pack up, and you know what, this doesn't make any sense. I'm not getting anywhere, so I'm gonna just really downsize and focus on the business and growing the business and just building my empire, like I have talked about before. And so it was very nerve wracking because I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't know where I'm going to go because I just didn't know where I'm going to go. And I knew where I was going to go. I would at least minimum be there for 6 months, but perhaps 9 or a year, right? So I didn't really know where I was going to go. A bunch of people, I mean, a bunch of people have texted me over and over again, have sent me emails. I mean, not emails, messenger chats, have called me, DM'd me, and it's been unbelievable the amount of prayers and love I have got from people, like from you. And it's just been like I literally was in tears a few times because of the pouring love that I've received from you. Right now, one thing I want to share with you, and this is a funny story. Well, not funny story, but I was talking to my parents today at lunch, and they were saying, so what's going on, what happened, and this and that, and I said, well, looks like God interrupted and we got to where we needed to get in order to reach an agreement. And well, it makes sense for me to stay. Well, for now, right? It makes sense for me to stay. Now, expenses are still high. That doesn't mean expenses are not high. But considering everything, it makes a lot more sense to stay, right? At this point. Now, let me share with you a couple of things. This 2 3 days that I've decided to do this, the pouring love has been amazing. One thing I gotta tell you, excuse me, is this. I have a few friends from way back when, right? I have old friends that are pretty close to me, right? I mean, I could call friends, right? And there are people that um, we've worked together, right? And over time, they have become friends, right? Like friends, like texting every day, chatting, all kinds of stuff, right? So, with that being said, these are long term kind of friends in communication and what have you. Mehdi John Chuck Mostad, I see you on Instagram live. Thank you for joining. So, you see, I had a pouring love in this few days, and people have been praying for me like just I mean, I am so humbled by all the prayers. Like the power of the prayer is unbelievable. It just blows your mind when prayer works, right? It's just unbelievable power in prayer. So I cannot thank everybody who prayed for me this past few days. I appreciate you guys. Now, with that being said, man does what man does, and sometimes God interrupts and gets in the midst of all this and says, wait a minute, let me handle this thing. I got this, right? What I want to share with you is this. All the people that I've known for all these years, and some of you are going to watch this live, okay? All the people I've known for all these years, not one person stepped up to just say, how you doing? Did you just hear what I said? I've known some of these people for 20 years. Not one single person, friends, stepped up to say, hey, how you doing? You need a helping hand? Now, why I share that with you is this. And then on this side, I have had pouring amount of love from strangers, from most people I have never met in my life. And yet these people have been praying for me, messaging me, texting me. I'm going to tell you something. Somebody's not going to like this. Someone is not going to like this. But even a pastor knew about my situation and decided to ignore and never even text or call to see how I am doing. My pastor. Why I tell you this is this. People will surprise you, and so will God. People will surprise you. Strangers will step up for you like they've known you for years. And yet, people who have known you for years hide when they know you could use a phone call. Let me know if you agree with this. Have you had this? Drop some hearts, love, comments. What I want to share with you is this. You can be a pastor, you can be a Christian, you can be Jewish, you can be purple, you can be half yellow, half black, you could be Persian. All that don't matter anyway. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure you're human, made in the image of God. See, you can't call yourself a Christian and not do Christian stuff. You can't call yourself a friend and not do friend stuff. You can't. You can't just be all talk, right? Why I say this to you is, listen, I know I have run into folks like that all the time. I don't know if you have or not, but I have, right? And I just explained to you, I have just this past 2-3 days, right? And you get to decide which category of people you want to be part of. Do you want to be that friend that says, I'm a friend, and kind of hides away when you're supposed to be doing friend stuff? Or do you want to be that guy that shows up in somebody's life and just kind of just really change everything about that person's mentality? A very dear friend of mine, my best friend actually, right? Saturday night comes over to my pad, sees what's going on, asks me what's happening. I told him, and he said, you know what? Why didn't you tell me? I said, I don't know. I never thought I would tell you, right? And so he cared. He cared. Now, that doesn't mean he can, but what I'm saying is you can't call yourself a friend and not do friend stuff when it's time to do friend stuff. You can't call yourself a Christian when it's time for you to do Christian stuff. I've talked about this all the time. I know you're a super Christian in church. I'm not arguing with that. Let's put an hour a week. What about the rest? That's when you show up. That's when you show up as a friend. Not because you've accumulated years over time with this person. That's not how you call yourself a friend, right? So what I want to share with you is this: God interrupts, and there is magic and power of prayers. I want to thank everyone, every single person. Most of you I've never met, and yet you've been praying for me because it's heartfelt. I feel you guys been praying for me, right? So there's magic, there's power in prayers. So I want to thank you for praying for me. I appreciate you guys always, right? And those of you who just kind of touched base with me and wanted to get some updates and see what's going on, I want to let you know of something. You have been more of a friend, or I'll even throw it. It doesn't matter if you're in the same faith as I am or not. It doesn't matter if you're Christian or not, right? But you have been more of a pastor, more of a Christian, more of a friend in my life in the past 2-3 days than most who claim to be those things. So I want to appreciate you. I want to thank you. There's power in prayers, and there's always power in prayers. So you may be going through a rough time, a tough time. I want to share with you that God can interrupt, which means it can just get in and say, hey, listen, enough is enough. I got this. I'm going to take care of this. Boom. Right? On a Sunday when you don't really negotiate. So there's power in prayers. I felt your powers. I appreciate you guys. Um, Thank you, for all the prayers, and I hope you get some stuff out of this. I really do because it's valuable stuff. Don't claim to be somebody's friend and not do friend stuff when it's time to do it. Don't claim to be somebody's leader and not do leader stuff when it's time to do leader stuff. Don't claim to be a business person and not do business stuff when it's time to do business stuff. So thank you again for all the prayers, all the love. It was a really tough 2-3 days because it was just personally, I don't like to make decisions that quick. I haven't before. I have, well, I don't know. Maybe a couple of times actually. Maybe I have, but I don't like to. I like to study things a little bit. It doesn't mean that I'm going to take like 6 years to decide, but I definitely don't like to decide like most things. Now, some things, yeah, like this, a move or this or that, you got to plan. But some things, when it comes to business and stuff like that, I like to make fast and then decisions and move. But things like this, I like to plan. I like to kind of evaluate things. So it was a bit stressful, and I know some of you reached out and said we can see it on your face, right? We can see it on your face. You're not posting stuff, so I know you're going through stuff, right? So the fact that you notice that's money in the bank. So I appreciate you guys. I thank you. I want you to show up like that in everybody's life, not just mine. Again, I appreciate you. I thank you. God is good all the time. I never lost faith. I never will. And he's pretty okay. He's pretty okay in my book. So with that, hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. Can't thank you enough for all the prayers. I appreciate you guys. Those of you who stepped up again, I thank you. And yeah, if you feel like this is worthy of sharing, do what you got to do. Share it. And with that, I am Sean Azimi with SideGeekSean.com, and I help folks create a side income using social media. Signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.